Hi everybody, this is Charlie Veach. I want to welcome you to the sunny climes, a bit sunsetty now, of northwest England. What you're about to watch behind me, I'm going to help you watch it. It's from a channel called Real Canoes News. Let's see if I can get you a close-up. In my opinion, alongside DJE, some of the best riot footage from last summer. This one comes to you from Scouserland, Liverpool. So to give them a proper plug, because they deserve a lot more views, Real Canoes, can you see that? Real Canoes. Real Canoes. Anyway, without further ado, well shot, good audio. Sanjay, the presenter, wore a St. George's flag tie. The whole thing is aesthetically very pleasing. Very good cameras, great shot. And you can see that we also watch Dougie and Bluey in this house. Bluey's very good cartoon. Anyway, so I just want to, I don't even need to put the mute on. So Liverpool last August, as you can see, very sunny. And the presenters here got right in it. But anyway, before we get to the bit that I really want you to see, I will mute it actually. I will mute it because I am distracting myself. So I muted it just in time. That man says, I hope you all effing yada yada in hell. So since my last video, thank you all very much for watching that. The one where I did in the room, is the UK government pushing for civil war on purpose? Most people in the comment section said it is an inevitable conclusion that the British government and other governments around the West are either bringing about mass societal change and societal disorder on purpose for some agenda, maybe some long distance agenda. Anyway, I want you to watch this closely. Oh, they're not. Again, in my opinion, what you're about to see is one of the more shocking and also dramatic moments. I would strongly advise anyone, if you find yourself in civil disorder, not to do what the young man is about to do to the fluorescent tennis ball colored officer. Now, I might have... Here we go. Yeah, that's worth seeing again. So they're built differently. They're built a little bit differently in Liverpool. There's a lot of Irish blood. The whole country's patriotic and royal family loving, but in Liverpool, they see things a little bit differently. And so when the government is lying to them, and Southport attack, the mass butchering was literally just down the road from... Yeah, that looks like an undercover... Yeah, that's an undercover cop. Plainclothes cop or special forces that was in the crowd trying to catch the young man in the blue who kicked over the reclining police officer. Now, and very strangely yesterday, an American contracted tanker carrying tens of millions of liters of jet fuel, which in my ignorance, that's probably some good fuel. Jet fuel is probably quite premium fuel. In the middle of the day, like in broad daylight on a bright sunny day, another ship carrying sodium, something bad to do with sodium. I'm not a scientist, forgive me. But the authorities haven't yet ruled out foul play. The ship, look at the size of that hole. Like, my God, that's bigger than holes you find in Turkish brothels. Like, seriously, that is a massive hole. Like, the sausage would be rattling down that alleyway hard. But apparently, the ship rammed the American ship and carried on full steam ahead, full power ahead. You know when the ships are like, down to the engine room, full power! And they do that thing. 10 minutes, it pushed it along. And we have now tens of millions of liters of jet fuel leaking into the North Sea. The authorities mounted a rescue operation. There were 14... This is the... that'll be the tanker. The ship that attacked it was something like the MV Sorong. Sounds Malaysian or Indonesian. And there is one missing crew member. They're all accounted for except one. And the authorities haven't yet ruled out foul play. Is it the case that someone with funny ideas in their heads, funny ideologies, who knows what they were thinking, but once you get a funny idea in your head, you are a slave to that funny idea. Maybe he decided to do a ship ramming attack of peace. That's what it appears so far. For the authorities to not be able to rule out foul play, that's the politically correct way of saying someone has done a ship ramming of peace attack. In our next bit of worldwide left versus right lunacy, it's no secret that Elon Musk is very good friends with Donald Trump. Elon Musk has an almost a kind of emotional hatred of woke ideology and of the left. It's public knowledge that one of Trump's children, who is male, is now identifying as a female called Vivian. And for his outspoken right-wing views, anyway, I hope you can hear. Ralph is, not only is he teething, he's learning how to talk, and he's in the scream, 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 shout, shout phase. But anyway, all around the world, who's organizing this? How is it all so organized? I don't see the left as the most, academic organizers. But not only have Tesla dealerships been set on fire, cars vandalized, cars attacked, they've also managed to take down Twitter, aka X, for about 24 hours now. It's been intermittent, the ability to get on it. Behind me, you've got Elon Musk himself. He's explaining how he says that it seems like the denial of service attacks, DDoS, don't know what the second D stands for, desperate denial of service attack, comes from Ukraine. Now, unless you've been, again, hiding under a rock, you may not know, if you've been hiding under a rock, you may not know that Donald Trump is trying to make Russia and Ukraine have a peace deal. The Ukrainians, not happy about that. Again, as we discussed in the last home video, some Biden money, some corruption money, oil money, mineral money. A lot of lefties made a good bit of cash out of Ukraine. There's a lot of people making good cash out of the dead bodies piling up. And Elon Musk very much as the buddy of, there he is there at CPAC, whatever CPAC stands for. Big buddy of Donald Trump. He wants the war to end. He said he's supporting Trump and saying that no more satellite data, no more CIA satellite data into Ukraine. And for trying to prevent the mass killing of young and middle-aged men on the meat grinders of the Donbass and Luhansk regions. What? No, oh God, it's the sun. You can't have Liverpool and the sun in the same video. Forgive me, Scouser viewers. Shouldn't have clicked on. Was that the sun? Apologies. The sun is not well liked in Liverpool for their, frankly, disgusting coverage of the Hillsborough disaster. And on to our final topic today is the collapse of the right-wing party Reform. Reform, from what I understand, actually from this interview of Jordan Peterson speaking to Kemi Badenoch, I believe she married a Scotsman. Badenoch sounds very Scottish. Badenoch. Badenoch, you bastard. So I watched the whole thing, an hour and, how long is it? An hour and a half, hour and 37 minutes. And I was very suspicious because, she was in the Tory party for a long time and they did the whole mass immigration thing. They're trying to blame it on Labour now. Anyway, what's happened with Reform? I learned from Jordan Peterson, who's a Canadian, that the British Reform Party was modelled on a Canadian kind of protest right-wing party called Reform from 25 years ago, which was successful. I did not know this until I listened to Maps of Meaning man himself. So why have I put on Kemi Badenoch here and not a Rupert Lowe or a Nigel Farage video? Because, again, I was watching UKIP march through Manchester the other week, and I'm very grateful for my friends for providing me with that footage. I would have been attacked. I would have been raped at that protest. Metaphorically, of course. No, my cheeks are far too tight, and I have a waterproof anus. It's an exit-only visa out of that one. So, sorry, I just can't help it with the filth. I just can't help it. You've got to bring a bit of light relief to these serious things. So if Jordan could get his clinical psychologist face off the screen and show me a bit of the Nigerian-born leader of the Tory party, that'd be great. So the reason I'm showing Kemi and not Rupert Lowe or a Reform or the Nigel Farage, who is the charismatic leader, is because I don't think Reform deserve to have this plug right now. A week is a long time in politics. I was in Durham a week ago, and a close acquaintance of mine, a gentleman, and he is a gentleman by the name of Nick Buckley. He ran as an independent for the mayor of Manchester, and he did extremely well. He came quite a close third after the two main political parties, and this is as an independent, without millions of pounds behind him. He did extremely well. So he joined Reform a week ago, and I did a little scene in Durham outside Reform Place saying, I support this move. The Veach channel supports this 100%. I support a gentleman, and he is a proper British gentleman who knows how to speak clearly without worrying about how he's going to appear or, shit like that. He just says it how it is. And I've interviewed him many times on my channel. And so a few days after he joins Reform, Reform appears to implode or explode, whichever way you think the shockwave is going. Is the shockwave going that way? Or is the shockwave going that way? Both. It's imploding and exploding. What happened? So Rupert Lowe is another British gentleman, very posh British gentleman with that voice of authority that some posh gentlemen have. And he is very outspoken on Twitter, known as X. Twitter, which is down right now. It's going on and off. And this blows me away. How does a group of ex-Soviet hackers, sorry Ukrainians, you're a lot more than ex-Soviets, but I'm just making a point here. How does a group of ex-Soviet hackers bring down what must be one of the most IT-protected companies on Earth? X, revenues of billions. I can imagine there's some clever people working at X. He must have kept a few behind in Twitter, Elon, when he was doing the purge, which he's now doing in the American government. So yeah. So coming back to Reform, Elon Musk. Sorry, that's what the quote was. Elon Musk has been supporting Rupert Lowe. And again, for the international audience, forgive me, just keep watching. It's interesting enough. You'd be interested in this. British politics is truly show business for ugly people. It's just a joke. I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm not saying Rupert Lowe's ugly. Then I don't even think of them in that way. Politicians to me are like cherubs. They are sexless. They are asexual. Politicians are just Anyway, so I think this is a good week for Kemi Badenoch. You're right, lass. It's a good week for her because the Conservatives are the most successful right-wing party in the history of the Western world. They've won more elections for longer, for hundreds of years. The Conservatives have been conservative, but then in the last 14 years, until last summer, they decided to open the floodgates into British waters, and it was almost a punishment for people voting Brexit. Brexit means British exit from the European Union. The reason why your average man on the street voted Brexit is that he looked around. My country is changing very rapidly, and these new arrivals, they're not becoming British. It's diluting the dominant culture of Great Britain, and the common man noticed this, and there is wisdom. There's also great tragedy and horror in the mob, but there is also great wisdom. Once you get millions of people who are, mentally healthy, they might not be academic or, intellectuals, but in big numbers, you can find out the truth from your average British man and woman, of course. So he noticed that the country was changing. So I'm not going to blame Kemi. It was her predecessors, David Cameron. How embarrassing. Oh, he's so forgettable. Rishi Sunak. I was like, who the hell was Prime Minister after Rishi Sunak? But after 9 months of Labour, Rishi almost looks okay, apart from the sin of they opened the floodgates after Brexit to allow any immigrant from anywhere in the world. All you had to do was arrive by boat. Literally that. All you had to do was step foot on British soil. This way, sir, to your 4-star hotel. Here's your state-provided girlfriend. Here's your state-provided £50 HMV voucher. Here's your car. Oh, you've got mobility problems? You're an alcoholic? Give the man £2,000 a month. Give him a free SIM card. Give him a bank account. And but he's an ex-ISIS member from Syria, and he's on video chopping off heads of 10-year-old boys in the back of pickups. That's okay. We don't judge. We are the fine British. Just come on in. Come on in, Mohammed. It's no problem. Just come on in. We're sure that you will assimilate. Just give you 5 years in Britain, and you will be eating fish and chips, drinking Carling, and, fighting other football fans in hooliganism on a Friday night. Before car ramming attacks, before blowing up little girls at a concert, before mass stabbing attacks at little Taylor Swift dance concert things. A good old-fashioned hooligan fisticuffs. I'm almost getting nostalgia, almost getting nostalgia. And who enjoyed that movie?
Old-fashioned hooligan can refer to a couple of different contexts.
What?
Historical football hooliganism. There's a
I
strong
did not.
association with football hooliganism.
What is going on?
Particularly the old-fashioned kind from the 1970s and 80s. This often involves groups of older individuals.
I did not
who are
ask
involved in that.
Gemini to do that.
Sometimes
So
they
the
use
moral of the
these
story is,
activities. Information
it was over
shows
there.
There are some older individuals who are still involved in football hooliganism. There are also articles that discuss how some of these older people are trying to relive what they consider to be.
Give me a second. I need to argue. Hi, Gemini. I didn't ask for your assistance there. How come you suddenly started talking?
You're absolutely right, and I apologize for the unprompted response. My purpose is to assist when asked, and I shouldn't have initiated a conversation. There are a few possibilities as to why that might have happened. Internal system processes. Sometimes, due to the complexity of the system, there might be internal processes that trigger responses.
Okay, you've lost me now. You've lost me now. So, yeah, if you're going to be planning revolution and insurrection, don't do it near your devices, because they're listening in. And where was I? Oh, anyway, before that. Oh, yeah, hooliganism. I almost get a soft... Thank you, Gemini, for reminding me of that. But the reason, again, another reason I'm showing Kemi and not Nigel Farage is Rupert Lowe, the former MP for Reform, who's just been sacked. They threw him under the bus, metaphorically. And I just cannot understand how Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform, he's literally snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Reform were surging in the polls. All the graphs were going that way. Like, they were literally, I think from one poll, number one in the country. They were going to win the next election. Partly because of how amazing Rupert Lowe is in his eloquence, and he outlines the problem. One of his famous clips, he says, every single person involved in the grooming gangs, and also anyone that knew about it, their families that kept quiet about it, must be deported. And he goes, if that means tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of deportations, he goes, that's absolutely fine. It's not controversial to need to protect the girls of this country. I mean, what is a country? It's an insular house party where you look after people and you don't allow anyone off the street into your house party. They're going to steal stuff. They're going to hurt the girls. So for being so vocal about it, and he's got no issues with talking about radical Islam and some of the issues with the Islamic culture in Britain and its incompatibility at times, yet Reform has a Muslim chairman. It's not Spider-Man. It's not chairman, it's chairman. I don't know his name. He seems like a nice enough fellow, but Rupert Lowe says we need to say what the problem is and start deporting people to save the country. And then Nigel Farage did an interview saying we must not alienate Muslims in Britain because they are doubling in number. No, they're increasing by 75% every 10 years or 5 years. He was talking about exponential growth of the Muslim families in this country having lots of children and gradually changing this country. Now, he is being stupid because at the moment, what I understand, most Muslims, not the rich educated ones, but most of them, will vote for Labour. But as soon as they've got enough numbers, like we've seen in Blackburn, you've got the Ahmed Yaqub. And I drove past his election things. All it said in his election was, make your voice heard about Gaza. And he had his face and his name. And so every working class Muslim in Blackburn was like, that guy represents me. And we're going to start seeing the next election, unless things change with the right leadership and the right policies. You're going to see this rising, slow takeover, because let's not beat around the bush here. Decent, hardworking British people are very tolerant, and we will allow ideas as long as they don't hurt. But that tolerance is so that everyone can live in peace and harmony. But what happens when that tolerance is absolutely abused by people arriving here, and they go, their tolerance is weakness. They are weak. And by Allah, we will show them what the truth is. And this is a big worry. Like, I've been alive for 44 years. Well done, Charlie. I can remember this country in the 80s, vaguely. 9-year-old in 1989, vaguely remember. I can certainly remember this country in the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s. When you watch my old London videos from 2009 and just compare the crowd shots to nowadays, you'd be like, what the hell happened? Has that country been invaded? Has there been an ethnic cleansing of the kind of native English and British out? Afuera! Maybe, maybe not. So, my big worry is, what are we going to do now with reform? Is the right-wing vote going to be split? Can we trust Kemi Badenoch? She's a bit autistic. She's a former engineer. She worked at McDonald's. Which, you know, these are all good things, I guess. She knows how to work for money. She's an engineer, a bit autistic. And what I think could be a good thing. And again, I have lost hope in reform. I voted for them at the last election. But to not be able to just... You've got 5 MPs, your most popular one. You can't kick him out. Have a word with them. Have a public debate. Let the people decide. Is UKIP going to split the right-wing vote? So maybe... Oh, no, I'm not going to have advertising. I pay for YouTube Premium. I am not having people advertising to me. So, my final point I want to make is, to defeat ideological woke left... Ralph is properly singing with Laura through there. Thank you, Laura. To defeat radical, chubby, gender-confused, communist, socialist, woke, gender-bending, giving medication to children kind of people, maybe, just maybe, a strong black woman is just the weapon we need. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to support the Tories. I don't forgive them. But where is reform right now? What are we going to do? Now, I want you all to watch the Jordan Peterson... Come here, Ralph. Give me this child. You better keep on screaming. Come on, pass him here. No, let's get a baby. Right. So, Ralph... Oh, God. Hold on a second, guys. Have a look at my light there for a sec. Ralph says... Who are we going to vote for, Ralph? We're going to vote for Kemi? We're going to vote for Farage? Yeah. Oh, Ralph says we're going to vote for Bluey. Now, Ralph is wearing bright orange there. Very sectarian, if you get it. Obviously not. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. But with reform currently in the toilet, is this the moment of the based black woman, the Kemi, to rise up? Now, a political guy called Andrew Marr has said that, and I don't know if I trust him, he said that Kemi Badenoch is finished. And maybe she is. But as long as her rivals keep blowing up their own parties, it might be time to wheel out the secret weapon of the strong right, the strong black woman. This is Charlie Veach coming to you from the now sunset climes of northwest England. Thank you very much for watching.